She better let me get some words in now and then. I'll mute it.
Here we go.
All right, we are live. What up? What up? It is Trav. It is on the spot time. Saturday, the 8th of October in the year of our Lord 2024. My guest this evening is fellow GBR member that everybody knows, probably in a good way, Nikki Summers. She'll be sharing her testimony with us. She's no stranger to sharing her testimony. But as with all these on the spots, man, there'll probably be a point here somewhere that she'll be sharing probably something with us, or not, maybe not. That's brand new, and she just hasn't really shared before. It seems to happen every time, and just grateful to be with her tonight. And if she's ready, I'm ready.
I'm
Nikki,
ready.
just introduce yourself and start anywhere you want to, and I'll jump in now and then with some questions, whatever, and bug you.
Trying to get my seat right. I'm crooked here. Okay. I'm Nikki Summers. If y'all don't know me, I'm from Iredell County, North Carolina. I'm 44 years old, and I am 4 years, 4 months, and so many. I don't count every day anymore. I just don't count every day anymore. So usually how y'all start out, Trav, as far as, okay, first off, I'd like to start out with a prayer.
Okay.
If y'all want to bow your heads and we'll say a prayer. Heavenly Father, I come to you today just thanking you for everybody that you have gathered together. Let me let the cars pass, y'all. They drive me crazy. They do. But I live in the country, so.
That's why I don't do them outside.
Yep. So I pray that I'm thanking you, Lord, today for everybody you brought together through the struggles of addiction and through the redemption of recovery. Lord, we have so many things going on in the world, and I just pray today that you keep your healing hands over Florida, that you touch everybody that's going through the weather, the struggles with the weather, all of the destruction that's going on in our country right now. Wildfires everywhere, not just hurricanes, wildfires everywhere. And I just pray that you touch the people that are going through all these hard struggles and help them come back as a community. And Lord, I want to thank you for everybody who has chipped in to help, who have done it, prayed, donated, have been there for all these states that are going through all the destruction, Father. And I just pray that you bless their families as they're trying to bless everyone else. I want to thank you for everybody who is here watching us tonight, Lord. And I hope that anything I say touches somebody tonight and reaches them. And if there's anybody here that watches this now or watches it later, Lord, and they don't know you, Father, I just pray that you enter their heart, Lord, and you show them who you are, because there's so many people that are lost, Father, and they need you. And I just pray that everything that we do and we say tonight touches somebody in a way that brings them closer to you, Father. And I thank you for Trav and Deb and their group and everything they are doing to share what you're doing in everybody's lives, Father. And I just want to thank you for another day, for waking us all up and for putting us all together so we can stand up against this thing called addiction and stand up and show everyone who you really are. In your holy name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Nikki, I got a question for you right off the top that I think, could get you started. But if you had any certain way you wanted to start out, that's fine with me too.
I don't. I'm going to do it your way this time.
Okay. Well, I base a lot of these questions. I get, like I call them micro bios for my guests ahead of time. So I write the description up and, the event so people can see it, and, they get a little piece of what's going to be expanded on and shared in the on the spot. I mean, it's everybody's testimonies and stories, but just to have that, I just like to make it a little bit more, detailed. But I base my questions really off of, the bios that I get. And I always like to usually start off back in the early days of childhood. And so the first question as we get into this is, you said that life was pretty decent for you and your brother up until your father's vehicle accident. And I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wanted to ask about that if you wanted to start there. That's pretty heavy right off the bat.
Yeah.
But.
So I'll start out saying, my brother had 6 years that I didn't because he's 6 years older than me. So I'm not sure the things he's seen. I see pictures where they went to the beach and things like that whenever before I was born. When I was born, I got about 2 years old. My dad was in this terrible car wreck, and he was drinking heavily. He had his best friend in the car, and they run the car. I can't remember if it was a tree or a pine tree or a phone pole. May have been a pine tree. It split the car. He was driving a Firebird Trans Am. This was in 1982, and it was a good one. I can't tell you the motor. I'm not one of the motor guys, but it was pretty nice. He should, and he was going over, definitely over 100 miles an hour when he hit this tree or phone pole, and his best friend didn't get a scratch on him. It tore the car, split it in two. My daddy, it broke every bone in his face. He was in North Carolina. We have a big hospital here: Baptist, Wake Forest, Winston, Salem. And he was there for like 6 months. But I was 2 years old. But as I got older and I read back on, I still have every paper from his surgery and his wreck. I got it when he passed away. And this happened on my birthday when I was 2 years old. So
wow.
reading that as an adult when he died, and I got it from my aunt. She said, "I'm going to give you his papers from Winston." And it tells every move they made during his surgery from the time. I mean, it tells everything. So when I got older and read about it, it was, my brother has a lot more memories about this than I do. Not good memories. I'm sure that's something that affected him in a way. He had wires coming out. They wired every bone in his face back together. They had to take all of his sinuses out. He had a trach in for 6 months. He literally died several times, but they did save him. And so I suppose during this wreck, so before the wreck, we had a new house built. My grandpa gave us some land. Nice little house is still there. It's right beside my great aunt's. Somebody bought it and has lived in it the whole time. But when I go and look at it, I just think that's where I was supposed to be, because after this wreck, it took everything. It's probably the hospital bills, and we pretty much lost everything. And he may have got better and started drinking again. I can't remember exactly why him and my mom split up. I was around 4. So after he got out of the hospital, he probably did start drinking again, and him and my mom ended up splitting up. And um, we moved not far up the road in a single wide trailer. They took our house. He drove a truck. So they were separated till I was about 6, and we moved in another house. And so they were back and forth my whole life as far as the parents, the divorce, the drinking. Mama wasn't an alcoholic. She had smoked marijuana here and there, but she's never been an alcoholic. But I think the thing with her was maybe a lot of depression because of the situation. So I think she did a lot better after they ended up divorcing when I was 9. When she got her own place when I was 9 years old, she did a lot better. As far as being, I can look back and see spiritually she was better. We moved behind my grandfather, and I had put in my thing, about my brother hitting her back. That's back when I was older. My brother was living there. He was getting to the teenage years, got to drinking like my daddy, So Mama wasn't gonna put up with that because she didn't put up with my daddy doing it. So he reared back to hit her one night, and she made him move in with my dad. So, and other than that, my teenage years seemed to be pretty normal. But the thing about me is I kept a secret for many years. I kept a secret for many years, and just give me
Okay.
just a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny. I can talk about this with my family all day long and fuss about it. But when I get to telling other people about this, is a story that a lot of people need to hear because I grew up thinking I was in a normal family. When you grow up in dysfunction and you're not around normal, you don't know what normal really is. So when you grow up and you see your other friends living a different life than you lived, you see maybe we're not so normal. But when I
Good
was
point.
around 6 years old, my brother, he is my only sibling, started molesting me. And as a kid, you don't really, at first, you don't know what's going on. At 6 years old, you don't know what's going on. It's like a picking and playing type thing. I think he was 12. He was 12 when I was 6. Um, that went on and off for a while. Um, when I got pregnant, so I met my husband in high school. We went to middle school together, but I met him in high school. And during our times in high school, we lost several friends, middle school and high school, which that affected all of us certain ways. Car wrecks, things like that. And I'll get into that shortly about the car wrecks, but because I'm crazy, I never let my kids drive after this. I don't, living in fear, we learn about that. We learn a lot about living in fear. Hold on. I'm going to wipe my camera off. I feel like I'm blurry. Anyway,
That is a little bit better.
so let's see, back to. So when I was 16, I did let my mom know what my brother was doing to me because I got pregnant with my daughter. And me and TJ, we got together in 1995, and we're still together today. We're not legally married. I get asked that question by a lot of Christians.
Good. Me and
What
Deb,
mean good?
me and Deb will talk about that with you. She
um,
knows.
you know, I'm glad my grandkids are going to be here for it. But when you start having kids early and you start, you don't, I had no idea what it was going to be like having a baby at 16. Well, I was pregnant when I was 16. So I told mama about my brother when I was 16. And I'm going to skip some things about that. But I told mama about my brother. There was some things that happened to my mom too. And it's happened to a lot of women. That's all I'm going to say. So she knew what my brother did then. Growing up, I think I tried to going through high school, things like that. I blocked that out. Didn't tell people. That's embarrassing. You don't tell people that stuff like that.
Definitely not.
So let's see. When I was okay, so around I had Caitlin when I was 16, 17. Me and TJ moved in. My mom lived with my mom till then. And then when I was 18, me and TJ moved out and got us a place together right down below my mama. We got us a little trailer. We stayed down there. And around that time, my brother had introduced us to crack. When I look back on it now, I see things different than I did when I was a teenager. I'm learning what do they call it? Grooming people is.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when I was, and I'm going to say also, I didn't grow up with God in my life. I have family members, my aunts, my cousins, a lot of people that went to church. My daddy was a Christian, but he was an alcoholic that didn't go to church, but he was a Christian. So, but he didn't follow God like he was supposed to. That's why I'm trying to make a change, breaking cycles.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot, even like the curse words, like me and Deb was talking today, something I have to work on really hard is something that's like a really bad habit. It's curse words. It's a bad habit. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's I didn't grow up godly. So it took me going through a sexual abuse, um, not knowing that later in life, secrets you keep can go deeper into your family and get to other people that you don't expect it can happen to. Um, so even though my mom believed me, I went on with my having a family and trying to ignore the fact that this had ever happened and never realized that I had never even told my husband it happened. So
Hmm.
when he gave us our crack at 18, we would go through binges here and there. It wasn't like a hard thing, but about 25 to 29, I started hitting a patch to where I would leave by myself and I would isolate and smoke crack, and TJ would come looking for me. He's actually the one that stopped us that time because I was going through stuff, and I finally broke and told him when I was 29 years old. Um, I hit a patch where I couldn't take it anymore, and I got out a bunch of knives and about killed my brother that night and tried to go after him. I was just come off a binge, and they found me a few days later, and I let it all out to everybody, and I didn't even realize that I had never told, and my husband. Um,
Yeah.
so he found that out. That changed our family dynamic a lot, but sometimes you want to believe lies people tell you, and you want your family to be fixed. And my brother was apologetic about what he done to me, and he got with a friend of mine, and he decided he was wanting to have a family and be normal, and sorry for what he did, and I trusted and believed him. And um, even though I told the girl, what he was and what he did and things he had done, she didn't actually believe me. But they stayed together 5 years, and in that
Hmm.
5 years, I was stupid enough to let some of the most important people in my life be around him, and he did some unspeakable things to two of my children. And I'm going to leave that where it's at because that's their story to tell and not mine.
Yeah.
But I live with the fact every day that I trusted somebody that when there's two sides to people. When you meet
Well, I mean, you believed him when he offered apologies. I mean, they had to seem sincere to you.
it did.
And I mean,
It
so
did.
it would be hard after that to imagine even having the thought that something like that could happen again. But okay, yeah, that's their story, and that's a lot. That's a lot to share.
So, with that situation, 5 years of him living there, how I found out this was he had done some things to his girlfriend's daughter, but so had his girlfriend's daughter's real father. So, somebody in that side of the family, another little girl told on him, and so did his daughter. Then she told on my brother. And when she told on my brother, he got arrested And when he got arrested, my daughter came out and told me, oh, more than I ever went through. So it was, she does better. It seems like we've got some really resilient kids in this world. 'Cause I'm the one that seems to take it like they take it hard, but they've let it go more than I have, I guess you can say. Um, Spiritually, I battle with this every day as far as the forgiveness, and that's a big part of my story. Is I had to go through a heck of a drug addiction because of all this crazy mess, and the devil was trying to destroy my life with this thing right here. This is what the devil tried to do. Um, but he didn't win. Um, so me and my husband have been codependent addicts together, off and on the whole time. Meth was the worst. I became an intravenous meth user. Okay, we got off crack for a long time, and then I was introduced to meth. But in between that was some pill use here and there. And it was not good because we wasn't on them long and we got addicted to them. And I did not like that because, it's the body addicting thing. And I was like, no, we're not going to get sick by like this. So I didn't like that. So meth, I looked over in my drawer and there was pain pills there. And I was like, well, that's a miracle. And then it helped our sex life and stuff like that, since I have issues anyway. So there was another devil's a liar. So we were on meth for about 8.5 years. And our kids, well, my oldest two seen everything. And then Phoebe went through some of that. The end of our crack addiction, Phoebe will never remember. All she remembers is the meth, and that's the worst. And at one point, our kids did get taken for 2 years, and I got them back, and I relapsed for 2 years after my mom had a stroke. And I've always let things like somebody died, tragedies. There's been a lot in my life. There's been a lot of tragic events that I have let take my, like, especially the car wrecks and my friends dying really early in car wrecks. And it was like my best friend's brother, and then my brother's best friend's brother, which was really a guy close to me and TJ because he was our age. So, and my cousin, it was just car wreck after car wreck after, and so it's instilled a fear in me. My son's 23. He just got his driver's license. A lot of that was also because at the time when we were addicts, and he was 16 when he got taken from us. I wasn't in the place I was to give my kids the things they needed to have. And the aunt, okay, so the aunt that just passed away that I post about, she's the one that took care of our kids while we were in our addiction, had them 2 years while we were in our addiction. But the courts kept us there because even though we were high and we went in that courtroom and we wanted our kids back, the people that wasn't showing up because they were high versus the people that were coming in high, they looked at that as being, we were still trying. So they worked with us, and our social worker, and I praise God for him every day, worked with us for 2 years. My lawyer that was trying to help me get my kids back, he was somebody that stuck by me, and he would see me come in and he would look at me and be like, Nikki, you got to reel it back in. And so what really changed my life as far as, so when my mama had her stroke, and I relapsed for 2 years. My kids were here then. it got really bad between me and TJ. The fight, the hit, and the crazy. I mean, crazy, talking to each other in demonic ways, things that
Weren't saying.
meth, to me, meth is a demon. Okay, I've seen it
Yeah.
in people. I know what it is. I've seen. I don't care what anybody says. It's demonic. The eyes, I see it into my eyes. If you look at my picture, oh my goodness.
I started talking about that
Yeah,
recently, like
yes.
especially meth, man, because
It is the
you're
most
not in
demonic
control of
drug I have
emotional.
ever.
It's
And
possession.
it put, we have never put our hands on each other. We've been together 29 years, and that is the only drug we have ever done that made us this way. He said things to me, and I said things to him that would never come out of our mouths. And this night, he had jumped over my daughter and was telling me to go kill myself. And that's something he would never tell me. We've been together, but, being high and being lost, I just went and laid in the mud. And I begged God one night, I was like, please show me why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here anymore. I was just so down about everything. And my mom was sitting up here in the shape she was in. She couldn't walk. Her stroke paralyzed her and she couldn't walk. So she was sitting up here in this mess, and it was just bad. So I was laying out in the mud, and I was just begging God to help me, take this away from me, Lord. I cried. It was like 2 or 3 hours. And when I finally come back up here and I went to sleep, I woke up the next day, and I have never touched meth since. But I also found out that morning that a baby beside us drowned in a swimming pool. It was 13 months old. So when I asked God, why am I here on this earth? It's because I've kept you here this long. I can take you anytime I want you. I'm not saying it, you better thank God for waking up. That's what I got from it. You better thank God I woke you up today, because there's somebody that didn't. There's somebody up here beside you that is absolutely just, because it was an accident. I mean, and from that moment on, I just got sober. And it took me a few things and ways to, I used a little bit of gabapentin to come off the meth. I didn't just stop cold turkey, but I've never been to a rehab. And I read my Bible, and I was already doing that before anyway. Um, when you are lost and God is trying to find you and you are on the internet, He will send you all kinds of groups, people, messages. So I was getting a lot of that going on too before this. And I just had to sit and to start taking care of my mama. Like I was taking care of my mama, but I was high taking care of my mama. She was having to see me in that way, and that wasn't good. So when I started getting sober, I went. It took me 2 years to get off antidepressants. I did stop taking my antidepressants. I took care of mom for 3 years. She got to see me get sober for a year and 3 months. And the week before she passed away, I came off my antidepressants. Sometimes I still question, do I need them? Do I not? Because we have those really tough days sometimes where we don't want to. I don't know if you have them. I don't know if everybody else has them, but sometimes I get into my head. I guess you can say I can get in my head, and it's not really a bad thing. I think I just get to missing my mom a lot. I try not to live in the past anymore. I'm working on forgiveness. My oldest daughter has 3 kids and 3 grandbabies. We started getting 3 kids, and I've got 3 grandbabies. So Jackson was really young when we started getting sober. They'll never see what my kids seen in us, which is a blessing.
Yes.
I stay sober through Jesus. That's the message I have to give everybody. This is not something I have had therapy with. I have not had any kind of rehab whatsoever. I did go to a detox one time, and that didn't even work out. It wasn't time. It wasn't my time yet, I guess, or I didn't let it be. And I did get sober for 2 years, but I didn't have God, and that was the missing piece. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you something else about the antidepressants? I mean, because that is a ever ongoing debate. Medication after
I
drug
am
use.
on an anxiety medication. When my
I mean,
mom when my mom died, my doctor did write me 1 milligram Klonopin twice a day. I take one at night. Sometimes, sometimes I don't. So that's God, because I used to love my Xanaxes, and now I don't know. It has to be God. Because
well,
if
yeah.
a doctor never gave them to me before, look, the doctor would never give them to me before, and I get my blood pressure was like through the roof. So, and I was a lot heavier too, but I had Hep C, and I had to get that treated. So I've been through all that. The Hep. My husband was not an injection. No, he just smoked everything. So that to him was something that brought out the devil in him. Something that I was doing that we would never do. And then me having to go through that treatment too. It's I like to connect with people who have been through this and have been through codependent relationships, because it is hard to stay together for a lot of people. Um, but it can be done. But are you doing it with the right person? I have friends that I'm like, no, girl, no, girl, but we have a family, and this is just something that we had to do. And God has really pulled us through a lot of it, most of it. But we've also had to give it over to Him. You've got to give it over to Him. And I think the things that I hold on to, I'm not letting go of.
I mean, you guys had like the same amount of clean time then, or no?
So what had happened was,
Okay.
I was we were okay. We got sober, and we were sober for about a year, and then he relapsed. And I took my mama when she was a year and 3 months. He relapsed, and he brought it in my house, and I snatched my mom up. And this was 2021. She was doing. Listen, this was God. My mom didn't want to go to the doctor. She sat here and smoked her cigarette. She had bladder cancer, and she had had a stroke. She was getting to where she could not urinate. She would not. Well, TJ ended up relapsing, but and when I look back on it, I have to say maybe this was to make me and Mama move, because I did not want her going in no nursing home. It was 2021.
Oh, mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
So that was really hard, but I had to do it, and I moved in with my daughter, because I was not going to be around it. I was not going to be I was done with it. So he spent a few weeks here by himself, and he was probably doing it. But I stayed at my daughter's for like Mama was in there for like 4 or 5 months. But during the time they did test her, she did have her bladder cancer had spread, and she had a tumor pressing up against it from her back. She had a tumor in her lungs, so she was getting ate up with it anyway. And so TJ got sober, and I sat down at Mama's, and that's when I really started doing some recovery meetings at my daughter's online and stuff. So this was in 2021. Mama ended up passing away September 24th, so that just came around too. So September 24th was 3 years for Mom. TJ got sober, and I did come home when Mom died, and he has stayed sober ever since. I've done a lot of praying, and he's just stayed sober. But he can do he knew it was time, and he knew we had to do it. So why he went out and done it that one time, I don't know. But it made me moving up to where I got mom where she needed to be because she wasn't going to go on her own, and she did have, a lot of cancer spread that um, we couldn't let her sit here and just smoke her. She was smoking them cigarettes, but I'm telling you what, because I mean, she was like, I got cancer now, and the ranitidine thing, don't even do it. Yeah, there's a whole thing I could get on about that. The ranitidine she was on, and if you smoke a cigarette, that kicks you plumb out of that category. So I don't even know what she was on it 10 years by her doctor, so over 10 years. And they were like, nah, she smoked a cigarette. I was like, well, she'd been quit 4 years, but I know that don't mean anything. But so what was you going to talk about with the antidepressants?
Oh, I just skipped. I can't even remember what I was going to ask. It wasn't important. But with his relapse around that time, I got two questions on that. One, did you get any sense that was going to happen, that he might go back at all? And the second one was, now looking back on it, because you kind of answered it for me, really was like, do you believe that God sometimes will let some really bad stuff happen to prevent worse stuff?
I could tell you so many things. Like with my, that happened to get me. That happened to get me to move with my mama, and this has happened twice because I've had to move it to a motel with her too. But, and that was when I got So I ended up leaving him that time too. So after I was in the mud, I left him that time too, and took my mom to the motel. And that's when we got. I had to move motels with her. Motels are really funny about people in wheelchairs. So, when he relapsed, let's see. No, this is okay. When I was getting sober the first time, or the last time, when I was getting sober, when I laid out in the mud and cried, and I took her out of here that time too, and we went to motels. And the motels did not want us staying because she was in a wheelchair, but he paid for it while he was still doing stuff he wasn't supposed to be doing. And I did end up coming back, and he stayed sober up until he relapsed. And that's when I had to take her to the nursing home. And that was hard because it was the COVID time. They had very strict rules up until almost the time of death. You had to suit up like the movie E.T. when they go back there. That's what I felt like I was in that movie. They had you put a whole suit on. My mama laid in that nursing home with COVID all around her and never did get it. Praise God. She did get pneumonia one time, but she had cancer so bad that she needed to be. That's why God. Bad things happen so good things can happen. Yes. I did have it's okay, like my job. So I had been just working at a place for 2 years, and I've been working my tail off there, and this girl was stealing from me. And stealing from me. And my purpose in life is not to make furniture cushions. That's not why God put me through this, put me through that. And I've been saying forever, I'm going to do my peer support stuff. I'm going to do my peer support stuff. I'm just going to say, the peer support stuff will test your, values, your morals, but you go through with the motions so I can get somewhere. But it's going to be like focused more, not upon, it's going to be more faith-based. But anyway, I was moved from that job. A girl was stealing from me. They don't care. They don't have cameras. We just want y'all putting work out the back door. So they were going to keep her and keep me at the same time. After the second time, I was still but I didn't find out she stole from me till I got home. I got mad over a whole nother reason and I left because I was over it. Come home, so aggravated, and found out that she had stole out of my pocketbook again. And I know I didn't find out until I got home because God knows me. And I called my boss lady, and I was, because that's the thing I have to work on is letting something hit me so hard that I go, but I mean, I had forgive the girl, so it was just a whole thing of how, I mean, really. So I left my job, and it has been a struggle. But I've had to really work on. I know I have a purpose with the story I have, and I have faith that God's going to put me in a place I need to be with the peer support certification, maybe moving into some trauma based things that would also help me let go of some of the things I need to let go to and learn how to do that in that way as well. Because I have used everything with the Lord, but sometimes I think I sit back and I argue with the Lord, and I'm like, He's like, give it to me, and I'm like, no, give it back. It's one of those things.
Well, you get to the point where you feel like I've been talking about that for a while now. With like we feel like you give up so much and you share so much heart wrenching, tragic, embarrassing type of thing, whatever you want to call it, emotion wise. And it's people are like, yeah, that's what you got to do to heal, and put that out there. It's absolutely true. And then, but you start seeing the benefits of that, the blessings. You're getting better. Everybody's like hugging you, doing great. Thanks for sharing that. The biggest dangerous thing I think sometimes, and I can't help it, but it's when somebody will tell you to your face, mostly, thank you for sharing that. I needed to hear that. And it's so overwhelming because then you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to just keep with that. Then I don't need to hold or get any of this other stuff out because I already hit this goal. I didn't even expect to help this person. So you just keep them in there. That ain't going to hurt nobody. And it's scary. That's why,
The thing about it is, I don't know about y'all, but I put my kids through. So they found needles in my house. They found needles. I mean, just things that it's something, and working through this peer support certification, I learned a lot about PTSD, and I know I have it, and I know my kids have it, and I know, it's a real thing. And losing parents, I've had a lot. I got a guy in my group that's lost his mom and he's relapsed, and I'm like, been there, been there. My dad, I didn't do well with that. My grandma, none of them. But with my mama, I promised her on my deathbed, and I had the Lord, and I was reading scripture to her, and she felt off. When I got with Jesus, everybody was. But I mean, the Holy Spirit does it. You don't know until you experience it. So she did pass away without me being there, and that may be something God let happen because when I seen my grandma die, I didn't do good with that. As what TJ's aunt, they told us we could leave the hospital, and I got very mad the next morning, but she passed away, and I knew not to leave the hospital, but I kept walking out the door, and I think, I did watch another video. We did some videos, and she was saying, I just want to be in here in peace, and I want to pass away by myself in peace and be with my mama and my daddy and the Lord. So I'm taking that, we got a funeral Sunday, and I'm trying to prepare for that, and we're trying to prepare. There's so many things that we can get out because of right now, everybody. And there's so many friends I have lost out here right now. And I get aggravated with a lot of family members. It's hard for me to, sometimes friends and family members, it's hard to, you want to show them, when you show them Jesus and they're not watching, and then they keep doing things that you've been through, you have to step back and also remember where you were at that time and how you were receiving when everybody was telling you you're doing wrong, you need to do this. So I'm having to take a different approach and look at people and be more considerate of the fact that they are lost right now, and it takes time. I want to fix everybody. That's the thing. I want to fix everybody, and it doesn't work that way. And that's something that I've learned in 4 years. The first 2 years of my sobriety, I was saving everybody. I was going to be Captain Saver. It don't work that way. If they're not ready, it doesn't work that way.
Well, yeah, it's God's timing too, which I can forget about at times.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I've opened up so much and have shared, as much as I do. I mean, that's just me, whatever. But I feel like I'll probably say something that will really break through this person or that, and then they'll be fine. And it's kind of like the wand mentality, but at the same time, I don't know what else to tell them other than what I've experienced worked for me, what I've seen work. But then again, why did it take me 46 years? I mean, what was I enjoying and doing when I was 25? I mean, it's just, I look back now on it all, and I'm like, I never got one thing right. I don't know why it took so long. I mean, I wasn't even this last year was the darkest and worst it's done. I mean, over my whole lifetime, I did more last year than I did my entire life, and I was gone. Like the grip was impossible for me to break. So I was like, I don't know where this is going to end. Suicide or jail or whatever. But it didn't.
So how long have you been clean?
This month on the 14th will be 11 months. That's it.
But did you have clean time before that?
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7 years, but not like this.
Well, see, that's longer than I have now. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't healed. I look back on it, it wasn't nothing. I don't even count those years. I've never had any clean and sober time until these last 10.5 months, because I was never healed from the things that caused me to do the drugs and the alcohol.
Yeah.
Great game. I talk about masks all the time and excuses and validation and justification and getting a coin, getting a chip, getting a year coin. Hey, you're doing good. Thanks. I guess I'm doing good. And just play the role, do this, go to work. How hard could it be to like function? The functioning addict. I'm a functioning addict because it was just sitting.
I was. And I was that for a long time until the meth come along. Like I could function even a little bit of coke. I could function on some of that, but not the man. I was not the other. That's how we all lost ourselves. We lost everything. That stuff made us lose everything.
I was talking to Deb about that. I'm like, even though I wasn't doing nothing for however long, and we were getting along, and I was working, and credit was good, driver's license, gaining some stuff back. It felt great, but I was doing it. I was regaining that. I was collecting coins, saying things, and trying to like put together stuff. I was doing it all. And then I burned out. So I never was clean and sober ever, except for these last 10 months, because I said, God, I'm done using my will. I've exhausted it. You know I have. I'm admitting to you. I'm confessing it. I was like, do what you want. And since then, I mean, I've seen prayers for other people, strangers at rehab, come true. One night, 4 of them in one night, an hour or two, 4 different situations. They all changed. And then the guy started asking me to pray now and then for this and that and the other. I would never do any of this. Like, I like attention and all that. Don't get me wrong, but I would never sit.
Never. Yeah, no, me neither. Me neither. So you know, and that's why we have to tell God is real, because I would have never. I was not the God person. I didn't, when people would talk to me about that, because and the main reason is I'm not, and that's another thing I'm not religious.
Me neither. Thank God.
I follow Jesus. So I'm non-denominational. That's just, And I'm not fussing. I'm not saying anything about anybody's religion or anything like that. I just choose to not be denominational.
I mean, if you're more religious than you're a Christ follower, then I mean, good luck
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
It,
There's
it,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
here's the main thing that I feel like is that God revealed to me is He took away all my preconceptions, my made up perspectives, and what I thought I knew, and He just keeps implanting truth to me. And
Truth in there. Yeah, yeah.
He said to me one night, He's like, "You've always used me, but you've never let me use you, and you
Yeah.
see the result of that." So I'm like, okay, neat. And then the results have been transformative. I mean, I'm not perfect at all. I still get impatient and grumpy and all that, but I'm human. I'm on
Yeah,
the devil.
yeah, yeah. And that's what a lot of people have to understand. You know, I get a lot of people that'll come back with stuff like, okay, my daughter had taken a picture in a prom dress, and somebody come back at me, a Christian that was one of my school teachers, with, your daughter shouldn't be wearing that dress. Well, first off, let's go here. My daughter is glad to have me alive today to be trying on prom dresses with her first off. That's where we'll go with that. Now, these girls are trying on prom dresses. They're trying on dress. This is something my daughter has never really got to do with her mom. This was her first year at prom. And a lot of people come at a lot of us like, our families are perfect and we're perfect and we're supposed to just be like that. It takes time to, it is a process. When you've never raised your kids a certain way to begin with, it takes time to get everybody where they need to be as far as following Christ and whatnot. Now, the dress that my daughter had on wasn't even a terrible dress. Sometimes I feel like they just come at us for, I don't know why, but it really hurt my daughter's feelings, and I was like, Phoebe,
Well,
you can't.
a lot of those people that just maybe think that they're better than other people, and they don't think that all of a sudden this person should have
Well, they're
these things.
taking pictures of, okay, we're going over here to the trailer park to pray for people. Then they take pictures of their house with their house numbers on it, all the stuff they left on their porch, but don't realize that the number on that house could be the number of somebody in there that don't need a husband seeing their house number. It could be a domestic assault, but just anything. But they have to show that they went to this place, they dropped this stuff off, they were doing it to be a Christian person, but they're taking pictures of these.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to video everything you do when you pray for people and you do things for people. You don't have to do that.
You just brought up something that's really tough for me not to talk about, but I'll digress. I hope.
Do what?
Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm trying to say. But
But I'm not saying like when y'all are standing over somebody praying, it's different. Some people do it just to
self-promoting. It's self-promoting.
Yeah.
And when you're sorry, but it is. I just know it is because God told me that's what I've done it.
Yeah.
Things that I don't like anymore are because I've done them. That's why I don't. And when I see other people doing them, even in the circles that we all have on Facebook, I'm like, that's self-promoting. That's denying humility to somebody else because it doesn't fit into what you're doing, and you can't promote that as your own thing. And
also another thing we need to say it out loud is,
well, it would cause division.
I love music. I love people's music, but I don't follow.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, we can talk about this.
Lord,
People don't
give me the words.
Truth.
We come out here to promote the Lord and the things the Lord has done in our lives. We've changed our music, but we do not follow a person. We don't chase people. We watch them and listen to their music because we are praising the Lord, and we are not trying to be fans. You're supposed to be spreading the message of the Lord. You're not supposed to be a fan of a person singing or any of us that are up here talking. I don't want a fan. I don't want a fan. If you take anything from me, take the story and me telling you that God is who saved me. But don't follow me to be a fan. What we're trying to do is spread recovery through Jesus. We love to have our people singing, our group, our Christian group singing, but when you start doing nothing but praising that person instead of the God that they're singing about, we have a problem. Okay, there I said it.
That was good. I couldn't agree more. And
I see a lot of that happening, and I think, and maybe they don't even see themselves doing it, but that's the devil trying to take them away from what's. This song is about God, but you're not even listening to the song, you're looking at the person.
you're seeing the performance and not the inspiration. And definitely not seeing where the inspiration for the performance from.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know everybody's hearts and I don't know everybody's minds.
Oh, it's probably coming from a good place. I just had to say it because I see so much of it that I'm like, okay, we have to follow the Lord. We don't follow man. And I love going to concerts and stuff too, but I'm not going to worship a singer or.
It's entertainment, and entertainment is not supposed to be idolized for worship.
Exactly.
I'm not, just at the
You're
same
saying
time.
that's what I mean to say. That's the word I needed. That's the word I needed.
But at the same time, and that's fine because the performers, the singers, or whatever, I mean, they're telling you in their song where to. They're saying, "Look at me. Look what God has done for me." They'll be like, and that's why I talked to a lot of them on here. They'll be like, "Well, I'm like, first and foremost, before you drop your new single, how did you used to live? Tell me about your old life. Was it bad?" And some of them are worse than others, but I'm not to judge that either. But to me, what I start noticing is it's becoming like CHH Christian hip hop. It's become real, and I think that there's a realness there, and a God-given revival in that. But just like anything else that's on earth, anything that's on earth can be infiltrated and manipulated by the devil.
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
to look part at events and on stage and do this, and I don't know what you're doing in your house, your public house, and all this. But if you're all they're saying this event, go to this event. Hey, this event's coming up. Look at this event. We'll be here. We'll do this. Here's some personal stuff once in a while. How hard is it to 50 years ago before God blessed you to have the following you have? It's just go to this event. Got this new album coming out. Get this merch. Get this merch. I can't travel around and talk about God unless you buy these shorts or you buy this shirt. When I baptize 5 people, guess what? I get a little bit of money in my bank. If you make any money and put it in your bank after you baptize somebody, you've missed the whole point. And it's still self-promoting. If you're going to do anything, just do it on your own. If you can't make it to the next state over to sing about Jesus, walk, hitchhike, or something. Don't be asking money to give you money to get a vehicle to go to an event and then talk about Jesus there and then sell some shirts and go to the next show. And then the only post within that 2-week period is guess where I'll be next.
Yep.
I might as well listen to for the rest of my life then.
Yep. There we go.
I don't know. There's no other way for me to see it. That's all there is.
Yeah, I see
And
a
then
lot.
fanboys and fangirls, and I'm like,
That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. That's what
Jesus,
stresses me out a little bit.
telling you. Sorry, you can. I
We
don't.
went way. I told Deb, I said, don't let us get off. Don't get her on here neither. Then y'all all, then we'll fire all of you and we'll just be talking.
Say what I want to say, but this is I
Oh,
can't.
we do. We do, but that was something. That's just something that I noticed. You know, that's stressed me out a lot, and it just needed to be said.
I feel a little bit better, but and something bugged me about a month ago that's still bugging me, and I know, give it to God. Look at it. I get all that. God's timing. And I don't have nothing else to hate on anybody about something, but when you get a chance to help somebody out that's in a really sad situation and tragic, and you don't do it because they didn't come to you first, but you still get on there and everybody shares your stuff and gets on your lives and looks at your little Bible verses and all this stuff that you're doing, and you're still just deleting posts and political stuff because, you just don't want to get into that. I mean, I don't have no respect for it. And this person ended up telling me in a message that I need to mature before I lead people to Christ. Fine. I sure will. I'll take that straight to heart, sir.
That's what I'm talking about with some people. Everybody can have their opinions, but if you have one, then you're going to get, yeah.
Sorry.
I know. I already know. Yep.
I've never been in a situation before, Nikki, and I know I'm hijacking your stuff. I'm sorry, but
Oh no, you're fine. No, you're fine. A lot of my people and some that won't, they've said my story is that I was a sexual abuse victim who became a drug addict who found recovery through Jesus Christ, and I'm still working on forgiveness. I will not lie and tell anybody that I'm there yet because I'm not. Because those are my. It's not because of myself. I had 2 people that you don't mess with. I have 3 people you don't mess with. Well, actually 6, including the grandkids, but don't mess with them. That's just, and it's going to take me time. And my own daughter tells me, "Mama, you need therapy." I'm like, I ain't have Jesus. I don't like therapists. I don't like therapists. They have never done nothing to make me feel worse about myself than I did to begin with, so I'm not dealing with that. I'm working through it. I'm seeing he's a lost soul. I understand that, like we talked about. He's also a lost soul too. I just have to I pray for him. I pray for him to change his life and everything, but I don't see it being a way that we're ever going to connect again. Some people have. I don't see that happening with our family. So,
how long does your brother have still to go? Like
he gets out in June of next year.
next June?
Next June, maybe July, June or July 5th. July 5th, I think. He's still in there huffing stuff. I don't know what he's huffing. Not, but he's lost. My mama died while he was in there, so he's lost. He's going to go through his own. That's why I don't need to I put myself in a crazy house because I was homicidal. I was not doing well and I was homicidal, so I went and I put myself in the Delta Center and told them I will. So just put me up, and they did. I had to get over that for a while, and I haven't seen him outside bars since. So there's me with, and there's where Jesus is moving me away from. I'll take care of that, and I hope it's by saving his soul, because he needs. God saves everybody, no matter what you've done, as long as you repent for your sins, ask Him into your heart, and believe in Him. That kind of thing. Hi, Phoebe. She's shut the door back. She's like, she's
I pray he's close. He has that moment. I mean, it can
I
happen.
do. And that's what I told my husband. I said, he's sitting in prison. I know these people are in there. Why is he not letting them in? Why is he still dealing with the drugs and or, just the dumb stuff. Just dumb stuff.
I mean, he's
Baby,
got to.
don't let this cat out. Hold on. Let me grab my cat, y'all. He can't be out here.
Well, I'm a cat person, so yeah, get it.
Well, he can't.
I don't even.
He has the feline leukemia. That's him, but look now. You gonna sit down? He's really not supposed to be out here because he's anemic now. So we've got it's just crazy stuff going on everywhere. We got the funeral, and we got the mountains, and we got Florida, and we got the cat, which he's like my child. So I'm really not. He's gonna get mad at me. But TJ, I'm bringing the cat back in. Somebody just let him out, but he's not. Huh? Well, he's not coming out. Okay. He's frying taters. He's in there frying taters for me.
Yeah, I pray that happens. I mean, you don't talk to him much.
No, I don't talk to him at all. When my mom died, I talked to him for a little bit after that, and then I just cut off contact because my daughter's therapist. She wasn't doing well with him calling my house, and because he acts like he's done nothing, like he don't even see the wrongs that he's done at all. So he just calls and acts like it's any regular day. What are y'all doing for me? I'm in prison. We're not doing that. Oh yeah, he got the calls to do that. He did call and talk to my mom. And I let my mama have that because that's her son, and you had to look at it. What if my kid was that way? I've had to look back on it. She did what a mom was supposed to. She loved her kids just like she was supposed to, no matter what they done. She loved them. I have to give her that. But after she died, I don't owe him anything right now except to pray for him.
I mean, I hope it happens. If he gets out and is still the same way he is in there now.
No, it's not going to. That's what I'm worried about. I looked at his picture and I can see how lost he is, and I know it's not going to turn out well. It's not. It don't look good now, and it ain't going to look good then.
The devil don't want to lose anybody these days. He's gripping everything as hard as he can. I believe it. The devil knows that time is about up for him again, but he's not letting anyone without a fight.
Yep.
But if he's in that deep stage of denial, I don't know. God could work like that, but
he can. He has to accept him, and
yeah.
While he was in prison, he got a tattoo of he told me about a tattoo. He said, I got me a tattoo. It's the devil on one side, and it's an angel on the other. My good side and my bad side. And that's when I was done. I was like, no, I don't know nothing but a bad side. And you want that angel to work, you better let Jesus in. But you better get that tattoo took off and come around me too.
I mean, just
you better make the devil an angel then, because
Does he have any foundation at all with God or Jesus or any of that stuff?
No. He would no.
That might even be able to benefit him to a certain degree.
I've talked to I don't know if you watched my old testimony, but I talked a lot in there about the Slayer posters. And my brother was into a lot of Slayer, okay? Let me tell you a lot of things. There's a lot of things that go along with it's not just when I look back at all the pentagrams and the Megadeth stuff and stuff that was all over our walls and the music that we listened to, the Slayer, the Overkill, and I didn't like it. That was his stuff. That was the heavy metal back then. He was born a little bit before me, so he was, of course, Metallica, but he went into the Slayer, the Overkill, the bands I did not. I can't stand Slayer. I didn't like them then. I didn't like that, but it was all over our bedroom walls. And
a lot of my friends didn't really like me so much because I wasn't a Slayer fan. I'm like, all their stuff sounds the same. It's just loud. The guys.
I don't understand what they're playing. Yeah, but you know the posters and the pentagrams and the
Like some
just
other bands.
things. That, yes, and that
Oh my
was
God,
you know so
they were so
he
popular.
got instilled with a lot of that, and you
The
know
lyrics.
they say the music is the devil, and sometimes I look back on things and believe it now because. And if I
But
hear any of these songs, like, of course, I don't hear Slayer on the radio or anything, but there's just
oh,
songs I won't listen to that come on. Even just I can't listen to them just because it's stuff we listen to, he listened to, and it reminds me of him, and I don't remind him at all. So um, God has changed the music I listen to,
me too.
and yeah. So when my daughter's in the car, I have to say, "You're not putting that nasty."
You know,
She's like,
it's
"Girl,
still
that's
big.
good music," and I'm like, "Girl, it is not. We are not doing that."
It's still image. Like, I mean, even like these bands with the pentagrams and the name Slayer and all this. I saw a documentary I watched actually on it one time, and all the guys are just regular guys. They got like
They
little
are.
chihuahuas in these nice houses. There's no blood on the walls. There's no pentagrams on the floor. So it's
Yeah,
still it's a persona of something. So even when it goes to the dark side of stuff like that, there are some satanic bands out there. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah,
extreme ones, it's just like the persona of it. They're like, "Ugh," you know, all this
yeah,
and like it's just kind of a show. It's not even really real. Then you actually talk to the guy that's screaming and yelling and devil, and
yeah,
he says, "Man,
yeah.
it's like
And
big."
and he's a normal guy. Yeah.
He's with my granddaughter.
Yeah,
That's Slayer. So
yeah.
it's still all the portrayal and
And
it
even now, so they brought, like, I think, you know, I don't know, there's some bands my son might listen to that I've never heard of, and I'm like, you know, he's a percussionist and he's in college, and I think our son listens to some music that I've never heard of. He had some, I'm like, Timothy, who's that? I wouldn't know him. I don't know what he listens to, but, you know, my son, he goes to a Lutheran college. But he's did really well there. We go to church if you want to go. Do you go to church too? No, we don't go. You know, but he's not living on campus anymore. But they did have, I think they have church services there on Sundays. But it's a really beautiful school. It really is, and he graduates this year. So I'm glad of that. So we got 3 graduates this year. One of them's our
good stuff going.
do what?
There's good stuff going on too.
Oh, that's the good. Yeah, that's the good. You know, all that they've seen. There's good finally starting to come. And just people have to give it time. Some people will get into this for a year and then they'll just give up because everything ain't happening right then. This has taken so much time for us to build our relationships with our kids back, especially him. There's always going to be one that's different than the rest of them. Phoebe and Caitlin were kind of easier. Timothy was hard to build his trust back. It really was. And we finally done that. And just to look back on the pictures, like I was looking back on our pictures I shared the other night of him at his concert, and just being there beside of him and not being in a certain shape, it means a lot. It really does. Just I know it does to him. So he's finally, but it's took years, not a year, years. I have people messaging me all the time, Nikki, how do you get your kids to talk to you? Well, get buckled up, sister. Sometimes it takes a minute. I mean, you have to show them every single day that you mean what you said about getting sober. You can't be saying I'm getting sober and then going over here and hiding at your friend's house doing something else and then coming back and seeing it. They have to believe it.
Very true. I mean, it's good that like in a way, it's good that he's like that because it would keep me like I think more grounded and to know that like
We do, Deborah. Definitely.
still you got to keep going. And I mean, I've gotten to the point where I don't think that I'm ever going to be fully healed until I get in the arms of Christ. So
Yeah.
I'm never going to take even my best day. Um, and I don't want to burn out on nothing too. And me and Deb's talked about that a little bit. My expectations are really not low, but just I just kind of the day brings me and what God offers, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. How am I
Yeah.
feeling on myself? Me and Deb just have regular conversations,
Yeah.
and because everything's seeming to click into place and be great, and I'm like, still like 11 months ago was
A lot worse. Yeah. And it does get better. You're still going to look, even in 4 years, we're still going to have. Sometimes I don't know how y'all's relationship is. Me and TJ still have our little arguments. I mean, we're humans. We're going to have them. I can't remember who said something the other day about, oh no, now we're on. It happens. It happens. We're in relationships. And I think Nate was talking about it the other day. You know, I said some things. Sometimes TJ says some things too, and I'd be like, no, but I mean, not anymore. But you know, but we talk about it different than we used to. Or
yeah,
we'll just step away. Sometimes I love you too, Barbara. Sometimes we just step away from each other, and that's a big step. Not standing there just arguing. We used to do that a lot when we was younger, even before drugs and stuff. But now we'll just go in there and get in bed. I'm not listening to it. I'm not listening to it. I'm just go to bed. Wake up next day, all different. Just wake up on the right side the next day of the bed.
right. I hope my the reasons. I mean, I was always taking things out on her, and I got to the point where I realized that I've used Deb, the person I love the most, as an emotional vending machine, which means like whatever response or reaction I'm trying to get out of her
Yeah,
emotion, if she
yeah,
doesn't give it, then something's going on.
yeah.
Who you talking to? What are you doing? Da 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 da. And it would just be like, if you're not giving me what I'm wanting, that's why I've said I've come to the realization that people were really my first drugs of choice. Because if I
Mhm.
couldn't make people get what I want, drug or the alcohol from people, I mean, I on schemes and scams and everything. So I had to
Mhm.
like emotions. And then like even if it's something good, if I'm not getting the response I think I deserve, it would set me off, and I would take it way
Yeah,
personal. That's definitely immaturity, and I've
too sometimes. Yeah,
that would be up to her to describe. But I
yeah,
listen way better than I have before, and
yeah.
nobody's
It
going
just
to do
takes time. It takes time. It does. It's not gonna. I mean, you know,
there's just
I can say, you know, even all the things we've been through, we've said to each other, we've done to each other, hit each. We He has stuck by me as far as what means the most to me is, you know, through the sexual abuse stuff with my brother. There is not many people who would stay for some of the things that he's stayed for. And so even we've had a lot of good times and we've had a lot of bad and hard times. But like right now, he's letting me do this. He don't get into this. He's in there cooking supper. You know, it's just things that's changed as far as before. We weren't like this before. So you just have to give it time. And we still have our days. You know, on at the beach when I was driving wrong. I had to drive because I had the license. You're not shifting the gears. This stupid stuff. Yeah, just dumb stuff. But it happens, and it's just something we have to move through every day.
yeah. I mean,
People
I
think when you get clean and you get sober that everything's perfect every day. It's rainbows and sunshine. That's a lie.
know
It takes
stuff,
work.
there's stuff to do now because when we were in drugs and addiction, that's all we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think about getting a bag or what time did the liquor store open up? I mean, all we did,
Yeah, for some people, yeah.
I can vacuum tomorrow. That ain't too
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you dealing with anything, and then it's all still. So that's when sometimes I think it gets really heavy for people when they get out of drugs and alcohol. Is that they're like, "What do you mean? I got to face all this stuff now?" It's like, oh,
hmm
and and then
And
some
some
people,
days, you know, I take a day or two a week that I have to be by myself, it's still, I have waves of it. And he deals with it just fine. I mean, he's dealt with it for years, and he knows when I need my days, and he lets me have them. And we pick up the slack for each other if one of us is lacking, and that's just how we have to do it.
That's big. I mean, I know that I do a lot of the stuff, and I'm on Facebook quite a bit. I'm just around with Deb, or running here or there, or just chilling, with her, and just being still. Like I don't want to obsessively do something too much. I'm a Christ addict these days, but even Jesus is like, hey, okay, you can just like watch baseball for a little while. It's okay.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then see, like, man, I wouldn't be doing none of this. I wouldn't be enjoying none of this. I wouldn't be chill, calm. I'd be get my next thing. So sometimes you just let everything off, not shut off God or Jesus, but just be in the moment that He's given you.
Yeah.
Like He knows you're with Him. He knows you're not cutting them off or what.
Yeah.
But He's like, I just gotta like take some time, more time. I think.
Yes, you do.
Perspective. And
yeah.
let me ask you some, like, just kind of off the top of the head questions. Like, what's some you think you want to work on that you still think could improve, that might take years, but aren't overwhelming to you to the point where you're think it's gonna relapse you or anything, but just what's some things you just want to keep working on?
Can you still see me? What's that mean? Recording error. Open the recording tab. No, we're not going to hit that. So I think one of the most things I have to work on is my language. And I get convicted. That's because I get convicted of it, and that has been a very hard thing for me. And if it didn't bother, if I wasn't being convicted of it, then it wouldn't bother me. But I am. So every day I have to say, Lord, forgive me. People will hear me on the phone. Lord, forgive me for saying that, because I was, Lord, forgive me, or whatever. I don't do the GD anymore. That was terrible when I was a teenager. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So I have had to refrain from that period. But sometimes an F word pops out, and I have to, Lord, forgive me. Don't start my day like this, especially if something gets, So that's something I've really got to work on. Also, learning to have patience with friends and family. It's easy for me to talk to everybody out here about getting sober, but when it's somebody in your friend circle and your family circle, I've got to learn to have a little more grace with them, and I think it's because I'm emotionally attached more, and it's something I definitely need to work on. I do not have any desire to use anymore, so I know that's God. I've not had a. That's why I say that this has been God in all of this, because I don't have the need to go use anymore. And when I was on crack or meth, I would just think in my head one day, and I had to find a way to get a $20 bill or a $15 bill, just something to go do something stupid. I'm just gonna go down here one. I don't get any of that anymore, any of it. So I know God's helped me out with that, and so I don't have to really. I'm not worried about relapse at all. The things I worry about the most is working on still building more of a relationship with the Lord. Not the really relationship of just learning more. Every day we can learn more. There's something new, even if you're a preacher that's preached for 60 years, you can learn something new every day. So that's something I also want to work on. But language, I would say, is something that I really struggle with. Nicotine, also. I'm just being honest. I went from smoking cigarettes to a vape, and not these kind either. I'm out of my Vuse pods right now. That's killing me. I don't smoke these. I smoke a Vuse, and it's It's worse than a cigarette. It sleeps in my hand with me like this, and that's not good. So, vapes, curse words, and speaking to people that are kin to me or emotionally attached in a better, graceful way and not flying off the handle. That's another thing I really need to work on.
Even with everything going on, you still got, a great outlook for the future. Um, and you and your husband, will keep growing stronger together. I pray that happens. But it's just like even with like sad things going on, and sometimes you feel helpless. You can't help people as much as you want to. All you can do is pray, and pray is powerful. But sometimes you want to be gone. But I mean, even like whatever the worst day might be tomorrow or next week or a year from now, I know that I'll be facing that with God and not on my own. And nothing can make me relapse more than my.
Yep.
There's just nothing. If I don't have an excuse right now at this moment, sure as heck I'm going to create one later on because of outside things that happen that I have no control over.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just want to keep going that route. I don't care about being perfect so much. All those same things I struggle with. I don't say GD or I can't remember the last time I said GD. But the F bomb drives me crazy.
Yes, it does. It will. And when you say it, you're like, I'm so sorry. Because you're trying. And that means you're trying. And it is a process. Because it's a habit. It is a bad habit we learn young. And you don't even mean the words you're saying. You just said it so long. It's just a word.
Yeah.
And that's where the lie begins. That's where so,
That's why I think God healed a lot of big parts of my heart so I could like have some clarity to look for the rest that aren't great, that aren't as bad. Still, time will keep piling up to like if you got 2 big things you got rid of and 5 little things. Those 5 little things are now bigger than those big things.
Yep.
Absolutely incredible. And I get even like because voids are like gossip. I don't like gossip so much. That's why I have. I always like Deb told me the other day. Like she's the smartest person I have in my life. You can have all the passion in the world, but if you act impulsively on that passion, it comes across as aggressive.
Yep.
Meth gets lost in the intensity, and I have an issue. Sometimes obviously I almost did it a while ago, but it's just like, man, I know something's so wrong in my heart. It's just, how do I, like back in my old days, I would just cuss you out, leave a message, see you at the bar, something. And now I'm in this mode and mindset.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes. You have to catch yourself.
I still afraid for how I always used to treat things.
Yeah.
If one way or disrespected one way, I'd find 3 or 4 ways to get back at you. It's just it's all devil's work. None of what I mean.
It is because I mean I've had situations here in the past few days that made me get, and I will start walking on my tiptoes. They used to call me twinkle toes when I was high anyway. But when I get really mad, I'll get on my tiptoes too. And TJ will be talking crap. Are you going on your toes again? If I'm on my toes, then I'm mad. Yeah.
Like I'm just like, ugh.
Okay.
Like, acceptance, give it to God, let go. Like I get all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that there's some other lesson God's trying to like, forgiveness. I'm like, man, I don't know about that's I could say I'm gonna say I forgive if I can't feel that I'm letting that go. Like that forgiveness isn't for anybody else.
Yeah.
On certain, it's for me to let go. You can't let go. I'm willing to forgive. There's to this stuff.
Yeah.
But man, what can we talk about? You got anything else on your mind?
Not really. TJ's got supper cooked, so I guess I'm gonna get in here. I'm here and eat some supper. Since
Okay.
he worked all day, so he come in and cooked for me, so I can do this stuff. And
If I get
so,
one of these 2
but
hours, that's
I would like to get Deb on one night. Is that a no? No, Deb.
oh
If
now
I
she's
could get,
called, now she's not typing.
she's not gonna say nothing now. Deb. No, no. So I think next, I definitely got to watch. You got Drew Hicks coming. What day after tomorrow? He's gonna be on, right? So I want to watch
Uh,
that.
the 13th,
One,
this
oh,
Sunday.
13. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I want to watch that, and then I've got. So we're probably gonna have Mike Miller. If Deb don't want to, I'd like to get you on there to talk sometime too. We're trying to set up lives and stuff. I do mine, just on Facebook Live. They are what? What's Deb putting? I
Good
can't
height.
see them.
This,
Oh, don't hide. Her and TJ gonna hide. It's okay that we get up here and yell for them. No, but yeah, I'm gonna get in here and eat some supper, and I really appreciated you having me on here, and I'll be praying for you. Um, I do understand the getting hot issues really fast. That is something I really don't talk about that I am terrible with. Um, they know it in the house. They know it in the house, but I've had to stay off. Look, there's been so many things in my messenger that have rattled my brain today that I am staying. After we get off the phone, I'm done with it. I got to see too many comments. I might do that.
yeah.
I'm not getting in my messenger tonight.
I don't as often either. Like after I get done with these, I don't look at my phone until almost
Yeah,
bedtime.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
But let me just say that I appreciate you. I appreciate your story. Every single person I've talked to on here that's done on the spots I never knew existed in life
None of
until
us do. We all met for a reason. Like God puts everybody in each other's life for a reason that He does.
and I mean I could be talking to Stephen Perez one night and then Nikki Summers the next night, and Drew Hicks with everything.
Yep.
I don't mind saying this. I said it the other day. I just said Drew Hicks with what he shares out of his live videos, you could tell he's just talking from the heart on the spot.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
He'll drop an F bomb now and then, whatever. That's him, but that's just who he is. He's not going to censor himself down too much.
Yep. Yep.
It's exactly what I like to try to think, not trying to emulate. I didn't know he existed, but I gravitate towards those kinds of people.
Oh,
and it's not anything negative towards anyone else. It's just that if I hit a wall with what I'm getting from you, God, but I just want to keep moving in whatever direction. And I don't want to be like, oh, I got these 4 or 5 people and that's it, because then I'm missing. God's like, walk. It means we're walking and going to keep meeting people along the way. You can't just pick. But and who's making that? Staying in contact will be there.
Yeah.
But it was an honor sitting and listening to you and sharing all that and opening up about it. I feel like I know you better. I know Deb loves you to pieces.
Yeah.
And you can I'm telling you, you better have a bunch of mustard seeds, because that mountain that you'd have to move for her to get on camera and talk with you and anybody.
Yeah. Hey, I got a whole little thing of them in here, actually. I'm not lying. I got a little thing of mustard seeds. Mustard seed will move a mountain. I got several of them. It's going to take them all to move her and TJ both, I reckon. I'm going to keep praying now.
Yeah, I've told her before. She knows I mean this. I'm like, oh, I created this group and I do these interviews and do these lives and blah, blah, blah. She started this prayer chat, which we're going to start doing Sunday, praying for people. But I said this, awesome. God doesn't have me on this earth. She is the everything behind all of this. Like,
yep.
People just feel from the heart. I've learned so much from her, and I wouldn't be half of who I am without her. But
I like
ultimately.
it pretty good myself.
Only her
When I talk to her, it's like we went to school together since kindergarten. So
impression to hear that. Like, oh, this girl's cool. She's funny. She tells like it.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
because I have too many
You got to
girls.
keep it real. If you don't keep it real out here, people's gonna think. I mean, I'm not that person. I don't lie to anybody about who I am, anything I've done. I'm honest with it. I mean, you just have to be. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to make up any fake personas. I don't come on here to look like I can come on here like y'all see me come on here crying because it's what happens in sobriety. It really does. You're gonna have them days. Yeah, I don't care if you're 10 years sober, 20. You're gonna have your days, and you're
things
not
for a
gonna
lot.
get up here every day looking like this.
I
Some
mean,
days
yeah,
I get on here looking a lot worse. Y'all might see me like that in a couple days. So, but I'll have the Lord with me regardless. So,
100%. I'll pray us out, Nikki, unless you want to.
no, you go ahead. I did the first one. You can do the next one.
Whew. Oh man, Lord, 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 thank you for this opportunity to sit with a sister, another child of God, Lord. And I appreciate everything that you put on Nikki's heart to share with us so boldly and bravely, Lord, and so inspiring, I believe. And it's all because of you. And every dark place that you pull her out of, and you pulled everybody else out of that she knows and leans into and believes in and love. Everybody's going through storms on top of storms, Lord, and we know that our prayers are really our biggest weapon we have. And believing those prayers, Lord, that we specifically ask you for, knowing that you can work miracles and move mountains. And I ask for blessings on everybody that's tuned in tonight and listened with open hearts and open minds and have engaged and interacted and had some laughs even now and then, Lord. I thank you for all of it. Everything that we're doing, everything that we're speaking about and hearing about is all because of you. You're allowing that to happen. And I pray that everybody can rest a little bit easy tonight and not worry too much and know that it's in your hands ultimately. And we will all be in prayer and we'll wake up tomorrow and start another day with you, Lord, proceeding our every move. And I thank you again. Thank you. Thanks for Nikki and everything that she shared to TJ and her kids and just everybody that she's, loving and supporting and cheering on. And I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Wow, another one, another on the spot. Man, it was absolutely fantastic, Nikki. Thanks for sharing out and everything. And whoever you need to share this with, feel free. And I
Oh
really
yeah.
appreciate. And I want more females to do on the spots. And I try
Oh,
to be
I
like,
know several then. Yeah, like Lisa. I know Lisa would love to do hers. Lisa Jones in the group. So I can
actually
make.
talking
There's
about.
several. There's several that would love to do. Yeah. So
I really, it's probably been 70-30, maybe a little bit more. But
yeah.
Haley, she's
Yeah.
kind of doing it, but we can't nail down a date. I'm like, if
Yeah.
any to talk to Deb to set all that up, then I mean, please feel free. I don't
Okay.
know on the spot, but I'd love to see that moment where I could just sit and
Yeah.
chill and
Yeah.
not do one. That would be
Yeah. Yeah.
she'd be far better at it than I would. But thanks again, Nikki. Give my best to TJ and
I
everybody in the
will.
family. Cat, enjoy your supper.
Yep.
God bless
Thank you.
you. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a blessed night.
All right. Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome. Bye.
Nikki Summers, everybody, with a powerful testimony and a powerful story. And just honored to be in a position to have somebody like that, share with me. And heard a few things that I could definitely relate to. And stronger person because of everything that she's been through and God's pulled her through. And so many blessings, many prayers continued for her with all the stuff that she still got to deal with and handle on a daily basis, but still finding those good things that she has to look forward to and cherish, and have clarity and a sane mind, and a sober spirit to be able to enjoy those things and to find the silver lining in the worst of times. So all of our faith together, it changes the world. one shared testimony at a time, one connection with another person at a time. Don't ever hold back from somebody. Somebody says, "Hey, how you doing?" Tell them how you're doing. They'll brace themselves. God won't put too much on your shoulders that another person can't help you carry. So thank you all again. I'm gonna get off here. I'm hungry. I've been on here enough for the day. It's time to see what my babe's doing and settle down the house and get comfy for tonight. All prayers before you go to bed tonight for everybody down in Florida right now. I was talking to Deb earlier about a couple years ago. I didn't know anybody in Florida really, heard of some people, but never was close to them, so okay. And, don't have any family or nothing down there, but now I've found brothers and sisters through this journey that God's got me on. And, Stephen Perez down there in Florida, Andrew Prines down there in Florida, Sandra White, Ryan Tieford down there in Florida, so many others that, I'm not even aware of yet, but we got to pray for them and their safety, that they'll be okay, because we know that they'll be stronger afterwards, no matter what the destruction and the devastation is, or even the loss, as hard as that sounds, and as hard as and unimaginable as that can be. If their faith is what their faith is, they will be stronger people and lean even closer to God at the end. And after all this, after the storms clear, that's when the most beautiful sunrises appear to us. So thank you again, everybody. Keep everybody in your hearts and prayers. There's nothing more powerful on this earth that can make a difference like prayer. So God bless everybody. Be good, but be good for Jesus.